Good morning. Welcome to the pre-meeting of the Newark Municipal Council on Tuesday, August 5th. Council President, council members, we have an appointment on the agenda on page 65. Actually, two new appointments. The first is Council President. The second is item 8B, appointment to the Caribbean Commission. Is Frederick A. Morton Jr. in the audience? Please step to the podium.
Good morning.
Good morning. Mr. Morton, you have been, I'm sorry, what page are we on again?
65.
Okay,
8B.
there we go. Mr. Morton, good morning. You have been, the mayor has submitted your name for appointment to the Caribbean Commission. Do you have any opening statements you'd like to make? You don't have to, I'm just asking.
Well, good morning to you, Council President. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Frederick Morton. I am the founder and CEO of a television network and media company that is very popular throughout the Caribbean. It's called Tempo Networks. I'm a lawyer. I've practiced for many years. I'm recovering, so I don't practice anymore. Head of my network, which is turning 20. We're actually celebrating here in the city of Newark on August 16th with a major festival in conjunction with the Newark City Parks at Harriet Tubman Square Park. Beautiful festival with a number of major entertainment acts from the Caribbean. And so I invite everyone from the council members, my good Fred. Yes, Mr. Dupree. I invite everyone in the chambers to attend on August 16th. I am from the U.S. Virgin Islands, but Newark is my home as well. I own property in the city. I've gone to Rutgers, Newark, and I've lived here for many years. My organization was resident here for many years as well. So it is a pleasure. I believe that my experiences would lend well to the commission, that I have a lot of valuable contributions to make, and I'm very honored to have been nominated for that position. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Morton. Any questions from the council?
I just want to say, this guy, man, congratulations. You really represent the Caribbean community very well. And I asked to actually sponsor.
Second.
Sponsored by Councilman Kelly, seconded by Councilwoman Scott Rouse. Anything else from the council? Hearing none, thank you very much, Mr. Morton. Congratulations to you.
And thank you.
Council President, council members, we are on page 3 of the agenda. Item 5, reports and recommendations of city officers, boards, and commissions.
Questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
Ordinances on public hearing, second reading, and final passage. Items 6P, SFA, and B are both going to be deferred as a request by the Department of Finance. 6P, SFC is an ordinance granting a 30-year tax abatement under the HMFA law to Sheila Y. Oliver Senior Housing Community for a project to construct a 5-story residential building providing 100% affordable senior housing in the South Ward.
Any question? I believe Councilman Council, who is on the line, wants to sponsor that. Is that correct, Councilman Council?
Absolutely. Second.
I was going to second it, but Councilwoman Scott Rouse, second.
Sheila Oliver, absolutely.
Any questions from the council? Anything else? All right, thank you. Next item.
B is an ordinance amending booting or removal of vehicles on private property to update boot and mobilization regulations and adopt fees, sponsored by Councilman Ramos, second by Councilman Quintana.
Yeah,
Councilman
Mr. President, I know there was an amendment that Councilman Kelly wanted to include, so I want to make sure that's added, so that would keep the public hearing open one more meeting. So, this ordinance, I want to thank the Administration of Public Safety and the Clerk's Office for getting this done relatively quickly. It's one of the biggest complaints that we do get from residents pertaining to the illicit looting practices on some private towers related to private property. So this sets some very clear standards and protections for residents. And through the amendment that Councilman Kelly is offering, it will also enable us to protect delivery vehicles that sometimes are victims of predatory looting as well.
All right, so Councilman Ramos and Madam Clerk, so we will defer this and then add the amendment, or do we have the amendment?
I think the clerk
We
worked
have-
on the amendment, so
amendment? All right, so
we'll
we'll-
introduce it as amended tomorrow, and I guess it'll be
Yeah.
adopted at the September meeting.
Okay.
Well, actually, it's up to the council president, council members. What actually happened is after last month's meeting, we worked with public safety. We drafted the legislation and included the amendments and advertised it so that it can be on
Oh, okay,
public
great.
hearing
Okay.
tomorrow.
Beautiful. Yeah, the sooner we can get this passed and signed by the mayor, the better it is for our residents.
So we're ready for a public
Okay,
hearing
so we'll move
tomorrow.
forward with it as amended. Thank you.
We're on page 5. Item on second reading and final passage is 6SFA, is an ordinance authorizing the execution of a lease agreement between the City of Newark and 169 Clinton Development Urban Renewal LLC for a project to provide housing for a homeless population.
Questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
Resolutions. 7R1A through M are temporary emergency appropriations. A is for the funding to hire 15 additional police officers, sponsored by Councilman Silva.
Or second? I'll second it.
Duly noted. B is for overtime to address violent crimes, also sponsored by Councilman Silva.
I'll second that too.
Duly noted. C is to address overtime for violent crimes, also sponsored by Councilman Silva.
Is there a second? Second by Councilman Quintana. And by the way, if there are any questions, please bring them up too. We keep,
Item, are you on?
say again?
Which item?
On all of A, B, C so far.
Duly noted. D is for the Drunk Driving Enforcement Fund.
Any questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
E is the 5-ward paving improvement project.
Questions from the council? I'm leaving it
Yeah,
open for a
yes.
second. Questions from, okay, Councilman.
I just want to make sure, through this 5-ward paving improvement, that we have a list of the streets that will happen in each one of the wards.
I see a director.
Good morning, Council President, Council members. Dolores
Morning.
Martinez, Food and Director, Department of Engineering. For this in particular, Councilman Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, you got it. We'll provide. What I can share with you is this one has the MA 25, so several locations, because we do with DOT with locations, so I can provide the limits and locations for you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President,
Councilman Ramos.
I want to ask the director too. I know at one of the previous meetings when we talked about the streets that were being paved this year, she made mention that there was an issue with some matching funds that the city needed to provide that was preventing her department from paving some of the streets that were supposed to be paved this year. I just want to know if that issue was resolved, and if it was resolved, can we get an updated timeline of when some of these projects are going to be completed? I know you have a few months left before you can actually complete paving this year, so.
Sure. Councilman Ramos, to your question, we are working with the administration. Some of these emergency appropriations do match the funds of grants that we already have. And with the upcoming ones, we're working between the operating budget and the appropriations that we're asking for. So we're working through the problem right now.
Yeah, and I did see the list that I believe your office shared along with water, sewer, and I did respond that there were very minimal number of Northward streets included on the paving list, which is disappointing for our residents. So I'm hopeful that through your office, we can increase the number of streets to make sure there's parity around the city. You know, I think every taxpayer deserves services, including paving from the city.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Ramos. Next item. I'm sorry. All right. Mr. BA.
Yeah, somebody left the ID up on the thing here. Look like this gentleman right here. With respect to the paving and Councilman Ramos's questions, if we do a historical look back over the last 5 years, there's probably been more paving in the North Ward when we include the public service paving that was done when they replaced the lines than in any other ward. So if we look back, if we look at this year or last year, it may look like there's a disproportionate decrease in the amount of paving that's been done in the North Ward, but overall, that's not the case. And I'll look into that to confirm it. But if you have other information other than that, I'm happy to discuss that with you.
Thank you, Mr. B. I'd be happy to look at that information. I also know that PSE&G now with the gas line replacements is going to pave a number of streets. I just looked at the list that was shared via email. I did an analysis based by ward, and I did respond that there were a very few streets from the ward included. So I do know for a fact that as part of the lead service line replacement, there were a number of streets that were paved in the ward, but that recent list didn't include a lot of North Ward streets. That was my point.
Yep, fair point. Appreciate that.
All right, thank you. Next item.
F is for the Freight Impact Fund project. G is for the PSC&G Energy Efficiency Partnership project. H is also for the PSC&G Energy Efficiency Partnership Program Commercial. I is for the PSC&G Energy Efficiency Partnership Program Residential. J is for the operating expenses. K is for STD testing and patient follow-up. L is for Law Enforcement Behavioral Health Response Grant. And M is for the oral health care.
Any questions on those matters? Hearing none. Next item.
7R1 N through AG are purchasing contracts. N is a state contract for firearms, equipment, and supplies. O is a state contract for copiers and multifunction devices. P is a state contract for firearms, equipment, and supplies. Q is a state contract for industrial supplies. R is a state contract for advertising and public relations services. S is a state contract for LED signal indications and warning devices. T is a state contract for equipment and space rental. U is a state contract for janitorial services. V is a state contract for software reseller services. W is an amended resolution to exercise a third-year option to renew for the government access television studio. X is an amending resolution to exercise a 1-year to renew for the continued street outreach and housing navigation services. Y is an extension of emergency contract for the reconstruction of the floor of Engine 5. This is actually sponsored by Councilman Silva. Anyone want a second?
Second for that.
I'll second.
Ramos, seconds. Councilman Ramos, seconds.
Duly noted. Z is an extension of emergency contract for the relocation of property and evidence to a new facility. AA is a purchasing cooperative agreement to purchase 2 portable bomb X-ray systems. AB is a cooperative purchasing agreement to acquire document management for records retention and disposal. AC is a cooperative agreement for paving services. AD is a cooperative purchasing agreement for membership to the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey. AE is a cooperative contract to purchase exhaust systems for 16 locations. AF is a bid contract for the rental of portable toilets. And AG is a bid contract to provide athletic apparel.
Any questions from the council on those items?
Yes,
Councilman
I want
Kelly.
to sponsor 7R1W.
7R1W. Is there a second for that?
And also 7R1AG.
Hold on a second, Councilman Kelly.
Second.
7R1W, sponsored by Kelly, Councilman Kelly, second by Councilman Quintana. And Councilman Kelly, what was the second one?
7R1AG.
7R1AG. All right, sponsored by Councilman Kelly, second by Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
Yeah, Mr. President.
Councilman Ramos.
Yeah, I just want to, through your chair and the administration, commend the work of Bridges Outreach. I know there have been a number of occasions where our office has reached out to Director Alario and his team, and these folks are on point. They're out in the community. They respond quickly when we need their help, and a lot of times we don't shout out some of these organizations that are doing impressive work in the city. So, just want to say thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman Ramos.
I want to add a thank you to that as well, to Bridges.
All right. Next item.
AH and AI are both application acceptance of grant funds. AH is for Clean Energy Coordinator, and AI is the Keep America Beautiful Martin Luther King Jr. Corridor Community Grant.
Questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
7R2A is a professional service contract for engineering design services as well as construction management services. B is a private sale redevelopment for new construction of a 2-family home and rehabilitation of a 3-family home to sell at market rate in the South Ward.
Questions from the council? Councilman Council?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I want to move on that. I'm fine with it.
Okay. Would you like to sponsor it too, or?
Yeah, I'll sponsor it.
Sponsored by Councilman Council. We have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
Duly noted. C is new construction of 5 2-family homes to sell at market rate in the South Ward.
Councilman Council.
Mr. Chair, I would like to defer that item.
All right. Motion to defer by Councilman Council. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Kelly.
Duly noted.
Next item.
D is new construction of 1 2-family home and 1 3-family home to sell at market rate in the West Ward and South Ward.
Questions from the council?
I'd like to move on this West Ward
I'd like to move
part
it.
of it.
Move it as a whole? Or would you like
I'm
to-
fine. I'm fine.
So we'll move it as a whole?
Yes, move it as a whole.
Okay.
Duly noted. And E is the First Amendment to the agreement for the sale and redevelopment of land to Beacon Development Partners, LLC, to amend the project scope in the West Ward.
I would like to move on this as well.
All right. Would you like to sponsor it, Councilman?
Yes, I'd like to sponsor this.
Sponsored by Councilman Kelly. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
Duly noted. F and G are to execute a deed restrictive affordable housing agreement. F is affordable housing agreement with new community homes development in the Central Ward. And G is affordable housing agreement with Dumas Corporation, also in the Central Ward.
Mr. President.
Councilman Raymond.
Yeah, I'd like to sponsor G. That's the Veterans Housing Project. And you should check the ward, because I think that's now in the North Ward. So. And Mr. President, another question. I know with the contract for the architect, in talking to Deputy Mayor Ladd, she did mention that she was going to share with us that there were other quotes submitted for this service. And then at some point, we don't have to go into it today, I just want to understand like how the city is going to function as a developer of this site. and whether we've done this in other instances where the city has developed a project, a residential project. So I know at the last meeting, she did mention that this particular project was designated to a private developer. The city took the property back essentially and de-designated the developer, and now the city is looking to act as a developer. So I just want to better understand how that process is going to work, what kind of risk is involved. If the city acts as a developer, will it partner with a private developer to actually build a project, or is the city actually going to contract directly with a contractor and water, sewer, and all that stuff? So I just want to better understand how that's going to work.
Would the administration like to respond now or at a future?
Yeah, I just, for today, she can just mention the architects, the quotes that were solicited, and why are you selecting this particular architect for the project?
Yes, good morning, Council President, council
Morning.
members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about the item. This item is actually 7R2A on your agenda, and we have it being considered for OCA architects to provide architectural services for the site on Halsey and Central that will be known as Kawaida Towers. I wanted to correct for the record that the EHD went through a process to get 3 quotes from 3 different architecture firms, and the OCA Architects was actually the lowest bid that we received, and so that was why we selected them. But because of state contracting law under professional services, it wasn't a requirement, but we felt like that was best practice to still get the quotes and not just pick a contractor architect. So again, I apologize for the information at the July meeting that may have led to some confusion, but in this regard, the city did have 3 quotes, which I do have in hand, and I will transmit them to the municipal council today.
Thank you. Any other questions, Councilman Ramos?
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you for the opportunity to clarify.
All right, let's go back to 7R2 F and G. And were there any questions on 7R2 F? And I know, okay, so 7R2 G, sponsored by Councilman Ramos. Was there a second? Second by Councilman Quintana.
Yeah, and I'm sorry.
FNG sponsored by Ramos? Sponsored?
Yeah, I'm sponsoring G, yeah. And also, with the allocation of home funds, can we get a timeline on when they anticipate completing this project? I know some years ago, they purchased some private property on Third Avenue. There was one city-owned property that was allocated to Catholic Charities as part of this veterans housing project, but it's been pending for a number of years. So I don't know if this is like the last piece that they needed in order to get the project done. But I just want to know if EHD can ask Catholic Charities and Domus for a timeline on when they anticipate completing this project now.
Council President, council members, Allison Ladd, Director of Economic and Housing Development. Yes, we will provide the timeline. And I can say, though, that we have a timeline for every project that's receiving federal funds and whether they've been closed, under construction, and when they plan to open. So we're happy to share that with the council as well.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thanks.
Next item. Thank you.
Sorry, Council President. Councilman Ramos, are you sponsoring both F and G or just G?
G, right?
Just G.
No, Domus, G, the
Just
Third
G.
Avenue one. Yeah.
Got it. H is to execute affordable housing agreement for home funds to construct a new 5-story, 63-unit affordable and supportive housing development in the South Ward.
Questions
And
from
Mr. Chair, I would like to sponsor that item.
Councilman Council sponsoring,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
Duly noted.
Next item.
My apologies. I is investigation for area in need of redevelopment in the North Ward.
I'll sponsor.
Sponsored by I'm trying again. Sponsored by Councilman Ramos, second by Councilman Quintana.
Duly noted. J is the need for housing project in the Central Ward.
Questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
K and L are both resolutions of support. K is for the submission of an application by developer to the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs Affordable Housing Trust Fund for North Ward. And L is a resolution of support for the submission of an application by developer to the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs Affordable Housing Trust Fund for property in the South Ward.
Questions from the council?
Mr. President,
Councilman
I'd
Ramos.
like to sponsor K.
Mr. President, I would like to sponsor L.
I'll second L. So K is Ramos, Quintana, and L is Council Crump.
Duly noted. M is an exception to public bidding to provide professional engineering support services for Newark pedestrianization Safe Streets project.
Questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
N is to execute a community benefit agreement towards the construction of a medical office building in the South Ward with a public hearing tomorrow at 12:30.
See, Deputy Mayor, you're already anticipating.
Yes, Council President, council members, Allison Ladd, Director of Economic and Housing Development. Respectfully, we asked for this item to be deferred. We did hear at a late hour from our partners at New Jersey EDA that they had some changes that needed to be made to the agreement. Therefore, we are unable to bring this to council at this time. So we would like to ask for a deferral.
All right, I wasn't expecting that, but all right.
Thank you.
So we'll defer.
7R3A is a professional services contract to prepare construction documents for the Community Health Center at Park Elementary School.
Mr. President,
Councilman Ramos.
I'd like to sponsor this as well.
Sponsored by Councilman Ramos, second by Councilman Quintana.
Duly noted. B through D are resolutions requesting an extension of time for various projects. B is the construction of the 2024 bikeways. C is construction of the Safe Streets to Newark's Transit Hub project. And D is construction of the Transit Village Pedestrian Safety Improvement project.
Questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
E through I are application acceptance of grant funds. E is the Clinton Avenue Safety Improvement Project. F is the 2026 Safe Streets to Transit Program. G is the 5-ward paving improvement project. H is the paving improvement project. And I is transportation planning program.
Questions from the council? Any additional questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I would like to sponsor E.
E as in Edward.
Yes.
Okay.
Clinton Avenue
All right.
Safety
Second.
Improvement Project.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
Second by Councilman Kelly.
Duly noted. J and K are bid contracts. J is for the Foundry Street Resurfacing Improvement Project. And K is the renovation of existing space to create a drop-in center.
Questions from the council? Hearing none. Next item.
7R4A is for the tax sale.
Any questions from the council? Next item.
7R5A is to waive the 20-day period for ordinance to become effective for the lease agreement at 169 Clinton Development Urban Renewal LLC.
Questions from the council? Hearing none. Next item.
B is an application acceptance of grant funds for the STD testing and patient follow-up.
I'm sorry, going back to 7R5A. The last sentence, or last line says on April 2nd, 2025.
We will amend it on the floor.
Okay.
That's, yeah. Duly noted.
Thank you.
C and D are acceptance of donations. C is the sponsorship for National Health Centers Week, and D is a donation of a scooter.
And so my question was, what kind of scooter is being donated? Director?
Good morning, Director Alsberg for the Department of Health.
Good morning.
The scooter is part of our giveaways for the community. This week, we're celebrating National Health Center Week. We have a series of health fairs scheduled across the city. And on Friday, we'll have an event at our headquarters at 394 University Avenue. We'll be providing food and gifts and educational materials to the community. Part of that giveaway is a scooter that will be raffled off to one of the children that attend the event.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
7R 6A through C are all settlements of civil litigation for executive session. D through F are professional service contracts for the law department. D is for the utility management services. E is for litigation matters. F is for litigation matters.
Questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
G through L are also settlements of civil litigation for executive session.
Next item.
7R 7A through F are hold harmless agreements for the use of Newark Public Schools facilities. A is for the North Ward Town Hall meeting. B is for the Central Ward Community Meeting. C is for the West Ward Community Meeting. D is for the East Ward Community Meeting. E is for the South Ward Community Meeting. And F is for the North Ward Community Meeting.
Any questions? Hearing none, next item.
7R 8A is attestation of review of the city audit.
Questions from the council? Next item.
B is a ceremonial street designation for Carolyn Betha Woolfolk Thompson Wallace, sponsored by Councilman Council.
I'd like to second that.
Duly noted. C is a ceremonial street designation for Susan M. Cleary, sponsored by Councilman Quintana.
I'd also like to second that one too. Sorry for y'all.
Duly noted. D is waiving special event application and permit fees for the Peshon Avenue Alumni Reunion Block Party, sponsored by Councilman Council.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Kelly first. Next item.
E is waiving special event application fees for Hope and Esperanza Community Health Fair, sponsored by Councilman Quintana.
Second.
Second.
I'll second.
Councilman Kelly, I heard him first.
Duly noted. F is waiving special event application permit fees for the South 16th Street Block Party, sponsored by Councilman Council.
Second. Councilman Kelly.
Duly noted. G is recognizing and commending resolutions, and H is expressing profound sorrow and regret. 7R 11A is accepting a gift of swimsuits and goggles valued at $8,000.
Next item.
7R 12A is a professional service contract to continue providing legal services concerning the lead pipe replacement, investigation, and litigation.
Any questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
B is a bid contract for the expansion of filtration, building, and construction of additional filters, 12 and 14, at the Pequannock Water Treatment Plant.
Questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
We dealt with the appointments earlier. We are on item 8C, an ordinance to amend the powers and duties of the city purchasing agent to raise the threshold for bidding requirements.
Can we get somebody to give us an explanation on that?
Good morning, Kenyatta Stewart, City of Newark Corporation Council. So essentially, the state has changed the actual numbers. So now we just have to put together an ordinance. We fall into the category, as long as we have a QPA, we can do that.
And so this ordinance is based upon state.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the council before? All right, next item.
D is an ordinance amending the Department of Law to increase the authority of the Corporation Council to an amount not to exceed $53,000 without the approval of the Municipal Council.
You disappeared. I thought you were gonna stay up there. All right.
Just for the record, again, Kenyatta Stewart, City of Newark Corporation Council. So essentially, it's the same process. When the threshold goes up, it also speaks to my ability to be able to settle cases without coming to council because they're not huge cases, for lack of better words. Right now, we're in a situation where we're able to settle cases at 44,000 because, we might have a situation where people have, a fender bender. Sometimes we have folks who have a pothole situation and they literally send documents to the office to get a reimbursement for the funds they paid. So I would be coming before the council on, simple things like that. And this allows me to do that without coming to the council. So, and again, we get on average, say 20, 30 of those cases per month.
But, and I'm just to be clear, what I heard correctly. Right now,
I'm sorry.
you're able to you're able to settle cases at $44,000?
Yes, at 44,000. So essentially, sometimes we might have like a contract dispute, whereas we owe a vendor an additional $5,000 because they worked in additional time. We've had situations where, unfortunately, people's cars have been towed for whatever reason. Their car may have been damaged because of our fault. We may have had a situation where there's like a fender bender or things of that nature, where one of our employees might have bumped somebody's car. It's $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. We have that on a regular basis. However, the most that we get is pothole situations and things of that nature where somebody's rims may be bent and it's $400, $500. But for these different ordinances, it gives me the ability to resolve it without coming to the council for it.
And so the increase is just $9,000 over what is already.
And it's statewide. It's statewide.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Any questions? Thank you.
Council President, council members, in light of the explanation from Corporation Council that both ordinances C and D are related to the state increase of the bid threshold, I'm assuming the Council President, council members would like to advance and adopt on first reading?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that.
Thank you. Duly noted. E is an ordinance granting a 25-year tax abatement to Central Point Urban Renewal LLC for a project involving the demolition of the existing one-story commercial structure and construction of a new 6-story multifamily building with 77 residential rental units consisting of 61 market rate residential rental units and 16 affordable housing rental units in the Central Ward. And there's a motion to advance and adopt this item on first reading.
Any questions from the council? Hearing none. Next item.
F is an ordinance granting a 25-year tax abatement to 824 South 20th Management Urban Renewal Entity, LLC, for a project for a new 4-story residential multifamily dwelling consisting of 25 affordable housing residential units in the South Ward.
Questions from the council?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I would like to advance and adopt that on first.
Okay. Advance and adopt on first. Are you sponsoring that, Councilman Council, or just like?
Yes, I'm sponsoring it as well, Mr. Chair.
I'll
Thank you.
second it.
And sponsored by Councilman Council, second by Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
Duly noted. G is an ordinance granting a 25-year tax abatement to 300 Garside Management Urban Renewal LLC for a project to construct a new 5-story residential multifamily dwelling consisting of 25 affordable housing residential units in the North Ward.
Mr. President,
Councilman Ramos.
yeah, I'd like to advance and adopt also, and I'd like to move it. And I just want to note that this is a 100% affordable project with a 25-year abatement.
Thank you. Second for that. Council.
Second.
Donna?
We got you.
Next item.
H is an ordinance authorizing a corrective deed for the West Ward.
Advance and adopt them first.
All right, let's, as a whole, let's advance and adopt. Is that okay, Councilman Kelly? All right, as a whole, all right.
As a whole.
I is an ordinance authorizing the assignment and assumption of the financial agreement from 306 MLK Boulevard Urban Renewal Company, LLC in the Central Ward.
Deputy Mayor, can we get an explanation on the assignment?
Good morning, Council President, council members.
Morning.
Allison Ladd, Director of Economic and Housing Development. I suspect that you may all be familiar with this building. It is located on Martin Luther King Boulevard and Central Avenue as you're going west. The building started construction pre-pandemic, so prior to 2019 into 2020. And then the developer ran into issues with a contractor, and that project ended up stalling. The stalling of that project lasted until about a year ago, when the current developer was able to secure funding and then request that the city consider this assignment and assumption. And so what is before you is the ability to complete the project. Unfortunately, again, back in 2019, 2020, again, the previous developer and owner fell onto hard times and they were unable to complete construction. That is why when you drove past it, as I drove past it myself, it was not completed. So we're asking for your consideration. This is a 7-story vacant historic structure. It'll be a mixed-use building for new housing units. There will be affordably priced there, and there'll be 42 residential units, and there'll also be co-living apartments consisting of 144 bedrooms. There'll be 4 one-bedrooms, 9 two-bedrooms, and 10 three-bedrooms, and 5 four-bedrooms, and 12 five-bedrooms. So I'll say that again. In here, there'll be 1-bedrooms through 5-bedroom units at this development, because they will be more dormitory style than they will be individual units. The AMI will be up to 80% of the area median income, and happy to take any questions if you have any.
Questions from the council? Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
I don't have any questions after
You
the
wanna-
council. I'd like to advance. I don't want to go back.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I don't think there are any questions from that.
Thank you.
All right, Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
I'd like to advance and adopt on the first reading and sponsor this.
On this one?
Yes, 8I.
Second by Councilman Kelly.
And on 8E, I would like to sponsor that resolution, that ordinance.
Is there a second?
Second.
If not, oh.
Thank you.
So 8E is Roundtree.
I'd like to sponsor
Kelly.
that.
And 8J is also Scott Roundtree Kelly.
Thank you.
Duly noted. J is an amending ordinance providing for additional filters at the Pequannock Water Treatment Plant and other related expenses by appropriating $15 million in bonds or notes to finance.
Questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
K is an ordinance providing for the Green Parks projects and other related expenses by appropriating $4,050,000 in bonds or notes to finance same.
Questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
L is an ordinance amending the multi-way stop intersections by designating Second Avenue West and North 7th Street as a multi-way stop sign intersection in the North Ward.
Questions from the council? Next item.
Additional items. 7R1AJ is the use of a state contract to provide walk-in building supplies.
Questions? Next item.
7R2O is a subordination agreement in order to permit the redeveloper to obtain the financing necessary for the redevelopment of the property as rental or for sale owner-occupied housing.
Questions from the council? Hearing none. Next item.
7R12C is a professional service contract for engineering services for design and construction administration for the Ironbound Resilience Hub project.
Questions from the council? Next item.
8M, a request to defer this item.
Next item.
7R2P is unfinished business, introducing the 2025 annual budget for the Newark Downtown District Management Corporation.
Questions from the council? Next item.
Miscellaneous, item 10A is the raffle license.
Questions? Next item.
Public comment?
Do we have?
Oh, I'm sorry. Corporation Counsel mentioned he may have added starters. Corporation Counsel? Yeah.
Good morning, Council President, council members.
Morning.
Thank you. Allison Ladd, Director of Economic and Housing Development. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss a potential added starter. In the July meeting, the council approved the site access agreement for the for the Greenway in the North Ward. Forgive me, I was going to call it the Newark Greenway because we're excited it's in Newark, but it's also in other jurisdictions throughout the state. So again, this is a site access agreement with the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. What we are doing is we're providing them access to city-owned land so they can do the construction on the Greenway. And they are starting in Newark in the North Ward. The request that we are making is that the state inadvertently forgot an address. And so they would like us to add an address to the access agreement so that they can start construction. It was just human error. And so since this morning, I've been working with the state to find a way to request this added starter, and I'd like for you to consider it. In closing, it is not in the Legistar, but I will have it fully approved before the end of today.
Mr.
You
President.
know you're being recorded, just to make sure.
Yes, Council President.
Councilman Ramos.
Yeah, I would ask for your consideration of the added starter, and if it is considered and approved, I'd like to sponsor it.
Thank you. Yeah, the deputy mayor and I have talked about it, so I think it's definitely something we all need to push and make sure it gets done. So,
Thank you for considering it, and we'll be sure to provide you that information.
thank you. And as soon as possible, please just provide us with the Legistar number.
Yes, will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. President.
Councilman Ramos.
Unless there are any other added starters, I don't know if I'm going to be here for the motions part tomorrow, but I just want to put something on the record. There's a makeshift playground at 77 MLK Boulevard. It's right by the Global Studies High School. I think it's in a privately owned lot. So the other day I was in the neighborhood, and we got kids that play in that parking in that playground from the area, and it looks like it's in very poor condition. I believe many years ago it could have been La Casa, or one of the nonprofits in the area, partnered with the private owner to build the playground, And from my understanding, it may be in the process of being foreclosed on. So I would just like to see if we could do some research, and maybe the Parks Department, if the city takes ownership of the property, would adopt, the playground. And it seems to be in pretty good physical shape, but the area where it's in, it's dirty, it definitely needs some investment. But it is on a privately owned piece of property. But from my understanding and checking with the county register, the city may be in the process of foreclosing on it.
Thank you, Councilman Ramos. And I see the director is here. Hopefully he took some notes on that matter. We'll follow up.
Thank you.
Right. Corp Counsel.
Sure, good morning again. There is one more potential added starter. Unfortunately, the Deputy Mayor Rahman Mohammed is not here to speak to it. It is in reference to legislature item 25-1108. It is in reference to his ability to pay vendors. I will have him.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Say that again.
His ability to pay vendors.
Okay.
But what I will have him do is send a email to the clerk and all the council members in reference to why he thinks it's an emergency, and more importantly, the details of what his request is made of. He'll do it before the end of the day, then you all can consider it. If he comes down before we leave executive session, I'll beg for him to have an opportunity to at least talk about it in executive session.
All right. Thank you.
No. I'm sorry, Council President, council members.
I was going to
There's
say,
another added
I
start.
thought I saw another. Okay. No, never mind. All right.
My apologies, Corporation Council does not need
All right.
that other added starter.
The fewer the better.
Public comment?
Yes.
We are in the 30-minute public comment portion of this meeting where each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. Please state your name for the record. Is there anyone wishing to address the council?
Shakir McDougal, Seymour Ave. I'll go first since I'll probably be the nicest. So I got a block party, when in Rome, do as Romans do, right, Kelly? Okay. Guess who's throwing the party? So Seymour Ave, we're gonna have a block party soon. Like y'all support, somebody could sponsor. Council, you there? Because you got to sponsor it, Council. I was told I ain't want to hurt nobody's feelings, nobody get in the way. You got to sponsor it for me. I missed you yesterday over there at George Washington Carver too. But yeah, trying to do something nice. I've been speaking with our public safety people over there in the 5th Ward. I'm going to be trying to work on something because our children's safety is of the utmost importance to me, and in all ways. And, there's things that I feel like if we're not talking about, then it doesn't get dealt with. And that's a problem for me. You understand what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to our kids. So especially in terms of who's in our community and how do we protect our families from these people, okay? Because we don't know when they're gonna be released and who's gonna be notified and things of that nature. So I think it is of the utmost importance that we spearhead that conversation, especially with the Jeffrey Epsteins of the world out there and those people not getting that full accountability, even in death. It's sad to say, but I've been priced out. It's gonna be my last time here because I'm moving. I done got priced out of Newark. I couldn't afford to have my own in Newark. But I was able to, listen, I was able to keep my credit good, keep a good job, and stay out the way, stay focused, happy, healthy, active, okay? And hopefully, while I've been here, I've been able to bring an impact. This is gonna be my last month in the city. I'm paying 2 rents right now, okay? Got that bag on me. I'm still gonna work here in the city. I'm still gonna, make sure that I can do what I can do. And the mayor challenged me yesterday. He said we need to be at them county commissioner meetings So DiVincenzo, I'm about to be on your case because Newark needs some money. So you know that I can talk a good game here, I can talk a good game there too, get up under somebody's butts. Now, that looked like a bridge to nowhere. Looked like a bridge to nowhere, Ramos. I don't know.
Thank you for your comments.
That trail all the way to.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Good morning, council. Wow, that agenda went very well. Miss you guys, Deborah Mapson. So I'm gonna put somebody on the spot first because I walked in and I saw someone I call brother and friend, and I absolutely adore him. And that's Leonardo Webster. So whatever he's here for, just give it to him because he's just brilliant in everything. At that, love him. Whole family. Secondly, I came to speak real quick on Riviera. Everyone knows anything Riviera, you're going to hear from Deborah Mapson, and I'm not sure how I inherited it, but I did. I am hopeful and I am prayerful that whatever kept it deferred is taken care of and the project moves forward. I've been doing a lot of snooping. Director Ilaria didn't even know the snooping I was doing, and it's really a great project. If there's any concerns, listen, all of you guys are brilliant. That's why I support you. And although I fuss at BA and I fuss at corporate counsel, they are two brilliant people, and I will never take that from them. So if there's anything, any minute thing, you guys can collectively figure that out. But the project really needs to move forward, and we need more like it. And I can make one promise, I'm around. If anything is going on, I'm not gonna come to you guys first. You are my last resort. But I know everyone that I can go to if there's any issues to bring it to their attention, starting with Director Eulario, who's become my best friend, by the way. I like that guy, right? So I just want to encourage you to move it forward, please. And you guys will be very happy with it, all right? Look, I'm leaving a minute. Yeah, in 4 seconds. God bless you guys. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speak.
Deborah Salters, Warrior for the People. So yesterday, my son was kidnapped out of his bathroom while he was taking a dump, and by a racist Caucasoid Ashkenazi Newark cop. I was on the phone with him when he called me because someone called and made a bogus report about him, but when the officer showed up, all he heard was the radios while he's taking a dump, and they never said his name. He heard the woman saying, oh, well, he's in there. Well, who is the he? Did he ask for you by name? No, he didn't ask me. I said, ask him, I'm on speaker. Anyway, fast forward, called the attorney, we're on the phone. And when I tell him, look, just cut it short and just go out there and see what's going on. They kick the door in while he's on the toilet taking a dump. So I pull up just in time, and I'm outside, block the car so nobody's going anywhere till I get some answers. Pull up, roll the window down. What's going on? Who are you? I said, I'm his mother, and why are you arresting him? Didn't let him put a shirt on, nothing. So as I'm talking to him, he walks away from me and gets in his car. So the one woman looks at me, and it's the O. She recognized who I was. So fast forward, they take him to 480. Then they try to kill him with carbon monoxide by leaving him in the garage with the cars running, both cars. So he had to say, I smell ammonia. Officer's mad because the other officer tells him who I am with his attitude, tells him, and he's called out for being racist. Then he tells him, oh, you're done, rolls up the window. So now they have to charge him with something because they know they're in trouble. I want his badge. And I'm telling you, Newark, you're on notice. The only thing that's gonna cool my fire is if his body cam was on and everything was documented. If everything comes back and anything comes back differently than what I personally saw and heard, then my fire will be cooled. Until then, I want his badge, I want his job, I want him charged. He had the nerve to tell my son after he found out who I was, oh, well, if you had just come out the bathroom, you wouldn't have been arrested, you'd be home right now. He was taking a dump and told them, I have nothing in my hands, I'm used. So what I did was, when I got there, went upstairs, took a picture of the toilet with the poop tissue on the floor, his phone was on the floor, and so now it's a whole mess. I have the police chief involved, I have the deputy chief involved. I promise you, if this thing doesn't come back with anything different than what I know, y'all got problems.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Good morning, council members. I prepared a text. My name is Gustavo.
I'm sorry, could you say your name again? I couldn't hear you.
My name is Gustavo, representing Ironbound Community Corporation. And I'm here to address a critical issue impacting our community, the unfair deal with the Reworld incinerator. For nearly 35 years, the Reworld incinerator, formerly known as Covanta, has operated under an exploitative agreement that robs the city of Newark of over $6.3 million every year. These are millions and millions that should have gone to our schools, to our parks, our healthcare, our future, but didn't. Instead of paying property taxes like other businesses, Reworld pays a reduced host municipality fee through an agreement made decades ago. This is not fair, this is not just, and it must end. We are here to raise awareness to City Council as the host municipality agreement has now expired and it's up for renewal. This is a critical moment. The most recent host municipality agreement expired at the end of 2024. As the host municipality agreement gets negotiated, you have the power and the responsibility to ensure that Reworld pays no less than what it would owe in property taxes. The incinerator operating in our neighborhood today is not an isolated issue. It's part of a long and painful pattern, one where poor Black, brown, immigrant, and working class communities are treated as sacrifice zones. This Newark incinerator is among the top 5 emitters in all of New Jersey for lead, mercury, arsenic, smog forming, nitrogen oxides, hydrogen chloride, and more. The incinerator has had over 800 permit violations in the last 20 years, and it is responsible for the majority of stationary source lead, mercury, hydrogen chloride, and NOx emissions in Essex County. Our air quality is among the worst in the state. Our children grow up with asthma, and our basic rights to breathe clean air continues to get violated. Today, I urge City Council to prioritize negotiating a fair agreement, one that reflects the true value of the land and the environmental costs. We need a deal that ensures accountability, health, and justice for our community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Amazing. Good morning. My name is Milagro Blanco. I'm also with the Ironbound Community Corporation. I'm here today for us to take a closer look at the host municipality agreement with Reworld and how this next host agreement could either protect its residents or leave us behind or continue to leave us behind. Reworld has not invested in recurring taxes. They have not committed to long-term positive commitments and no direct investments into the communities most impacted by pollution. So I'm here to ask, how do we build a stronger and fairer contract? First, we can take a look and tie the host fee to inflation and population growth. With the cost of living, city services, and environmental impacts constantly rising, A flat lump sum loses value fast, especially in a city like ours. Newark could receive predictable, ongoing revenue. This would look better. This would look like better support long-term, and it would support city services like asthma prevention services, green space expansion, or even fixing local infrastructure. We have not heard yet back on this. We're looking forward to working together and supporting the city as you push for a more equitable agreement. And thank you for your time, City Council members.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Manira El Boumani. Since this is my time for feedback, I just want to say the First Amendment states that the people have the right to petition their grievances to government, and also the people have the right for peaceful assembly. And what took place that day when I was ejected out, and this person here committed perjury and also put his hands on me, which is assault and battery. Okay? When I went out, when he petitioned the police to go after those individuals who were sitting here exercising their rights, then you come when I move away from you and you go right into me, and then you put your hands on me and you get up here and you lie. And perjury is a crime. Assault and battery is a crime. But he's gonna get up here because he's a lying, corrupt BA, a former judge, and a lying lawyer. And he know exactly how to, finagle that situation. So you're gonna get up here and you're gonna allow him, in all the years you know me, in all the years that I have struggled and fought against you failed leadership here, you're gonna allow this man to come up here and lie? You're gonna allow him to come up here and lie and say that he was pushed? Who pushed you? Who pushed you? I know you're not insinuating that I pushed you, or trying to. He called me a bitch, and I practically didn't do nothing to you, right? You remember when you tried to put your hands in my van because I went and take your flyers? Deborah Salter was on the phone with me. You called me a bitch when I should have pushed you, right? Did I push you? Unacceptable. He should be removed from office for this making up a lie. Where's our budget? If you're mad about that, where's our budget? If you're mad about why you was under investigation and then they picked you up here because I spoke about it, don't put your hands on me. And don't lie on me. And don't allow them to lie on me. Because I got issues with all of y'all. Now I can look at you funny, but don't lie on me and say that I pushed you. Who pushed you, BA? Go ahead and say it on the record. I dare you. Where the cameras at?
Thank you for your comment.
Unacceptable.
Next speaker.
Good morning, Council President.
Morning.
I want to talk about the visit that the administration did, and you attended that meeting last week at New Community up at Newton Street School. During that process, you heard the administration and the councilwoman, and they talked about how the residents came there to address all their complaints about what was going on in their apartments, things that needed to be fixed of that nature. They talked about the pool cords, they talked about the intercoms being fixed and things of that nature in that meeting. So the problem with the whole matter is that that project is an $80 million fully funded state project, and they want a 30-year tax abatement for up there on Morris Avenue. This came before the council because those residents came down to the tax abatement committee meeting in opposition of that tax abatement. Now, again, it's a fully funded $80 million project by the state, which means it has an Aspire agreement with it, which means it has a community benefit agreement attached to it. There has not been no community benefit meeting to address what the citizens want concerning that development. We've been addressing the residents and their concerns. That's a whole separate issue in and of itself. So if they want to talk about the improvements that need to be done in that building, just like over there at Wesley Towers, there needs to be total renovation, not changing switches and washers. They need to have some wheelchair accessible bathrooms, some upgrades. They have bathtubs right now, they can't even take baths because they got wheelchairs. They can't even give it in the bathtubs. They need to change that. They need upgrades. So the things they're talking about right now don't even benefit the residents. You understand? There need to be capital improvements that developer has not neglected to do. So we're talking about trying to potentially give a tax abatement to a developer and the state funding it, $80 million. So those complaints that we're sending down to the state about those residents, they're not going to address those complaints. You know why? Because they got an $80 million investment right there on Morris Avenue that they're going to fully fund. You understand? So understand that we're working with some serious dynamics with that project. So it's not just about those senior buildings, 140, 180, and 265 Morris Avenue. Those residents in those townhouses are requires those same abatements. Those residents up in building 72 over there in Irving Turner, same abatements. Up there on 100th Street, same abatements. Guess what? Wasn't invited. This whole process that they're talking about doing up there with those citizens needs to be revisited. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker. Seeing no other speakers, public speaking is now closed. Is there anything from the council? Councilman Ramos.
Yeah, I just want to wish Sammy in my office a happy birthday. I forgot to mention.
All right, happy birthday, Sammy.
Birthday, Sammy.
All right, Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
And I want to congratulate and celebrate. I did want to try to do something for her tomorrow. Betty Jean Walton. Nobody calls her that, but her name is BJ. And of course, she worked for Councilman Bell. I think she's currently working for Senator Ruiz, but she retired after 30 plus years of working for the government, whether it was city, whether it was county. Oh, she hasn't retired from county yet, but after 30 some odd years, she definitely was affiliated with us. So I'm going to try to do something for her tomorrow, briefly, if possible, with the approval of our council president and the council to acknowledge her. I wish we could do this for everyone that is giving that type of service, because walk away with a watch and a thank you after 35 years. At least let our individuals know that we do appreciate them, we love them, and we celebrate the service that they've given. Some people you can call and immediately they answer and will help you with a resolution. And so I want to congratulate her and thank you for that time.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Anything else from the council at this moment? Anything from the administration at this moment? All right, seeing nobody moving or saying anything, let's move into executive session.
Yes.
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 Yes.